lot of you this year are all about quick wins. What are a few things that I could do to use music, especially if you don't have room in your curriculum to do a whole unit or anything. One thing is just a unit hook to introduce a place or a theme. Have a song playing as students enter that represents the specific country you're going to study that day, a specific event in history. There's so many, songs, they're stories. And so it can really hook students into a place, a theme, a music video that is showing all these people, all these different foods in a market. And then you just have it playing in the background, or maybe you do a whole discussion on it, but maybe it's just playing and it's just a hook to get students into, or maybe a festival. And so a song is playing about a certain festival or celebration that's coming up, just have it playing. Another is just in the background. I know a lot of people do this, just setting the mood and target language during passing or work time. These could be more like soothing music. I know some people don't like to use words in the background, but it depends on what your situation is. So during passing time, during work time, if you don't have any minutes to spare, the background is something that you can use during chat conversation time. You have your music playing in the background, and once in a while students might stop like, "Ooh, it's my jam." Also just for other during different activities that you're doing during games, things like that. It's a great way to have it in the background. Another is a brain break. We all need brain breaks, especially for movement breaks. So playing a certain song, and then, for example, during my first unit of Spanish 1, I have a bunch of songs that I've picked that have a lot of repetitions of certain high frequency words. So for example, the song Soy Yo, great song for Spanish class. And so every time the students hear soy, it comes up all the time, means I am. You could have them do something. And this works really great with elementary, middle school, but also your high schoolers. Especially your younger ones, your ninth graders are they're still middle schoolers, especially at the beginning of the year. They need movement. They need, I need movement. And so having them stand up, and you could do different things depending on your group. Maybe they're going to jump every time they hear the word. Maybe they're just going to raise their hand. And also giving the option, if they just want to sit and raise their hand. Maybe they're going to do a move. Maybe they're going to do a jumping jack every time they hear it. Maybe they're going to do a kick, whatever it works for your group. Or just playing a video, and they do the dances that go along with that Zumba video or that Just Dance video. But it's a great way as a brain break, especially if you have block classes. Last year I had 100-minute block classes, and the brain breaks were so needed. Or another way is just to relax. That brain break could be, it doesn't have to be a movement. Maybe instead I'm just going to play a music video, just for social emotional learning, just to listen to a new song, just to chill and enjoy, because we just took an assessment. We just did something. We need a calm break. We need something. I'm just going to play a song, and you can color, or you can doodle, or you can just sit and enjoy. I think that's a big thing, is the music. You don't have to kill the joy of it by forcing students to listen, complete a closed activity. It can just be for the enjoyment of the music. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck, is that they think like, well, there has to be an exact target learning goal for this. And mine is always, interpretive listening in the language. That is a standard. That is what students are working on. That can always be your default of, if somebody were to walk in, well, what are you doing? Oh, interpretive listening of the target language. Well, also, we know that is including culture and connections and comparisons. There's so many things, but that can be your default if you think you need to justify what you're doing in class. And so other weekly routines. And so my first presentation for IWLA, it was mostly, when I looked at it, I was like, how did I even have enough content? Because pretty much the whole presentation was about how I use musica, miercoles, which is the name that my students gave. I know it should really be like miércoles y música, but now it is stuck and it's become a tradition. And that was all I talked about, was pretty much this tradition and our baile, viernes. But anyway, it worked. So thank you for continuing to have me at IWLA, even though when I look back, well, thank you to those of you who came to my early presentations. I'll just say that. Everybody has to start somewhere though. So starting every Wednesday with a music video. And that was the main idea. This was something I started my first year teaching. I I think it started because our Wednesdays were super short. It was early out day. We only actually had, there were like it was like a 27-minute class sometimes, because sometimes I taught at private school. We had to go to church. They were early out, and it was this super short class. And so it started with just kind of became the heart of what we would do on Wednesdays was we would do things related to a song as just like a little mini activity related to what we were doing. Then later and so this can become as much or as little as you want. I have a playlist of this. I have many, many slideshows and resources that I have created. Each year, I like make a new slideshow that goes along with it. I make a Google slide. I embed a video in the Google slide, and then it can be as much or as little as you want. If you don't have time, this song maybe just plays during passing time. As soon as class starts, you just do a quick intro, naming, the name of the artist, where they're from, the name of the song. Maybe you ask a couple questions. I know a lot of teachers, what they do is they have this projected. You can have the video there with the questions. And this is their bell ringer, their class starter. When students walk in, this is what they need to do to get on task, especially for like middle schoolers. They come in, they have a task that they should be doing, when the bell rings, that they are answering these questions. It used to be back in the day, we had binders, and in that section of their binder, every day they had to write the date, and they had to write down who the artist was, the song, and then answer the questions. And then students did have to be able to go back and look and see like, oh, those are the songs. I know some other teachers have made, little handouts, and they just fill them out for each day. So this is something I have continued to do, and it has evolved into a lot of different ways. It could also be virtual. I know teachers who have this projected as the first thing when students entered the class, and in the chat, they were answering a question, or maybe they were doing it in a Google form. They listen to the song and then they answer a couple of questions as kind of a check-in start of the day. So this could be done in any language. It could be done on any day of the week. It's just, Wednesday, middle of the week, sometimes you just need something. And this was one of those things that students, they'd be excited to come to class because they knew on Wednesday, they thought they got to waste time watching a video at the start of class. Usually I'd have it playing during passing time. We would do a little discussing intro. I'd play it again for everyone to watch. Maybe there was discussion, and then we'd move on with our lesson. Or it could be that we were going to expand, and our whole lesson on that day was going to be about this song, and we were going to go deeper. And I'll talk more about what you could to go deeper with that song. But it could be as little or as much as you want. Same with Dance Friday. I know this is something, and to be honest, the first school I taught at, where this kind of got invented, students would run to my class. I just project a music video. Most of them are just dance. Actually, back in the day, they were Zumba. Second school I taught at, they didn't like the real people. So it was like almost always just dance, just from YouTube. They just straight project a video. Once again, I have a huge playlist here. I have a playlist in Spanish. I have a playlist in English. I have a playlist in French. If any of you have playlists in other language for dance videos, let me know and I will add them. But I also have tons of slideshows of ready-made ones. So they're already in there. So you can just go through and click and you have a slideshow of ready to go songs for each Friday. But to be honest, not every class enjoyed it. So my first school, they would run, they loved it. They were so into it. My second, it's all about, the community, if the students feel comfortable with each other. So it might not be something you want to start right away in the beginning of the year. I know some schools that super embrace this. I think especially middle schoolers, because just the idea of like getting the wiggles out. Also, it just depends on the group of students, how they feel about each other. So if it doesn't work in your class, you are not a failure. It is fine. I don't force anyone to do it. Once in a while, I might say like, could everybody just stand up? Just stand up, okay? But never force it. It usually becomes, even in this picture, this was like that group of girls would always dance, but the boys in that class didn't, and it was fine. And that group of girls would then sometimes say, can we do another one? And it would be so I would just have it playing when class started, like during passing time on Friday. Once class started, if people aren't really into the dance, then we just move on with our day. If the kids are into it, and then I'll let them, and usually they would want to pick, and they have a certain one they wanted to do, and they would do one at the start of class. Those who want to dance, dance. Those who don't. No big deal. The days where it's especially fun are, days before homecoming dances and, the big games on Friday, and before breaks when there's just extra excitement and energy. And this is one of those things that last year, when I talk about like losing the spark, It didn't really happen. And it was just so weird. It was like, we're like, oh, we can't be near each other. It's just such a strange time. And so this is one of those things that kind of people didn't feel comfortable doing anymore. And then, except I had a group of, like, for example, a group of girls in Spanish 3. And because they were comfortable with each other, they enjoyed each other. This was something they looked forward to. And they would do it not just on Friday. We had block classes. So we'd do it in the middle of class as a break, as a reward, as just something to do with music. And so once again, if you need justification, students are listening to music. And you could do this with traditional dances. I know some teachers teach traditional dances, so if you have those skills, but otherwise, I'm not teaching these videos. I literally just project them. The students follow along with the Just Dance moves. And there are Just Dance songs in every language now. You can find them in Korean. You can find them in French. There are songs, if you just search Just Dance and then like en Espanol, or in the language you're looking for, Just Dance in German, they will pop up. There will be playlists that people have created. There will be just individual songs. Once again, preview. Another routine, and so I haven't done this as much, but I know, for example, my former student teacher, Sierra Wessels, Profe Sierra, she does a song of the week. And how hers works is they're doing the same song at the start of class for a whole week, but there's no activities each day as a quick class starter. So maybe the first day, they just listen to the song. The second day, maybe there's a video. The next day, they listen to it and they're ordering the lyrics, or they are answering a question. The next day, they are adding, so they're doing like a different activity with the same song all week. And so for increased repetition, language acquisition, that is something you could do, especially if you're on a block schedule or you just want a consistent routine to start class. This isn't something I have personally used, but I know that in a lot of classes, this is a way that teachers go a little deeper with the song by just breaking it up with about 5 minutes each day. Or this could be done in the middle of class as a brain break, doing something with the song.